The Jacksonville Jaguars lose, and now we got to point out the warts that we can't point out when they win games. They didn't win. So it's Wart Monday here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
As a fact, Jack, win, lose, or draw, it is your team every day here on Locked On Jaguars. We thank you for making us your first listen. I'm Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast. I've been a credentialed member of the media for 2 decades and have covered this team for a long time, and I've seen a lot, so I'd like to share all of that experience with you as we navigate through the Jaguars so far being a 4-2 team. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for the highlights in this week's Move the Game Forward, Mazda, Move, and Be Moved. I'd like to thank the everydayers for joining us each and every day here. We do not take you for granted. We appreciate you. If you're new, hang out with us. Maybe you'll become an everyday or two. We are available wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. I got to let you know, though, as much as I appreciate you for listening to Locked On Jaguars, I got to tell you that you can follow our show and hear new episodes ad-free daily on Amazon Music. So make sure you go over there and check that out. I'm going to give you a little bit of a roadmap to where we're going. We're going to talk about 3 players today that I believe the Jaguars need more from. I am not saying that they have underperformed. I'm just saying that the Jaguars need more from them because they play critical positions. And when the Jaguars start losing games, you want to see guys be able to step up. You have to identify who your best players are. In reverse order, we're going to talk about Walker Little, Travis Hunter. We're going to start with Josh Hines-Allen. This is not a call to panic. And I know I said, what do I call it? Wart Monday? Show the Wart Monday is what it really is. It's not a call to panic. The Jaguars are 4-2. I appreciate and shout out to those folks that made sure we all knew that, hey, man, it's the middle of October and y'all are 4-2. You would have taken that before the year started. Life don't really work that way, right? But I appreciate everyone saying that. And yeah, while that may be true, ain't nobody thinking like that. I know at least I'm not, because I think they should be 6-0 based on what I've seen them do on the field. I'm not going to be an inmate to my thoughts about them being such a losing franchise and what I will be happy about as of this point. I think it's fair. It's extremely fair to say they could very well be 6-0. It's also fair to say that they could be 2-4 because they've had some close games where things did go their way. And they've had some games. You talk about Kansas City and Trevor slipping and falling and slipping again and then getting up. Sounds like a DMX song. But you can talk about that. You can talk about the fact that a tip ball kept them from getting a pass interference call or maybe even a completion that they could have lost the Houston Texans game. You can do that stuff all day. But what I'm not going to do is evaluate where they are right now and consider myself lucky to not still be coached by Press Taylor and Doug Peterson and that crew. I'm just not going to do that. It's totally irrelevant. What's relevant is how they're playing today. What are they doing to win these games? And can that get better based on this being a new regime? See, when the new regime comes in and a whole bunch of new players, I can't give them credit for not giving me a prolonged hangover from what it used to be. I guarantee you, if you told Liam Cohen that, man, we're 4-2, man. You and James Gladstone, man, we're happy with that, dog, because of Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke. They look at you like, get out of my face. I don't want to think about nothing like that. What does that have to do with us? And I'm not telling anybody how to fan, but I'm just telling you that some people you say that kind of stuff to, it just goes in one ear and out the other. Matter of fact, it might not even get inside of the ear because I'm looking at everything from where it is right now. Over the first 5 weeks, there are a lot of things that we could have pointed to and said, this is what you say when you're winning. We got to clean that up. This is what you say when you lost. It cost us today. Like Liam Cohen did in the locker room after the game. It cost us today. And I tried to be, even though I'm not as present because of my recording schedule, in the locker room post-game, at practice, hearing everything that they say. I think you can still get an idea of how they feel in the interaction that you have if you just pay attention to the things that they talk about. So that's why I try to give the fans a little bit of access to that, not just access from presence, but access from mindset and thinking. And so you'll be on the page with those guys. So the access behind the scenes that we're getting from the Jaguars is absolutely great and it's wonderful. But I want to make sure that at least for the listeners of this show, because y'all stay here with me every day and you come visit me here every day and I don't take you for granted, that I want to kind of frame and shape this on how we move. And then when new people come in, they can say, okay, that's what they're talking about. I would not give one damn about the histrionics of being 4-2 for the first time in October or the second time in a long time. I think it happened in 2023. They were 8-3. I don't care. I'm only going by what they're doing now, and nobody down there should care, especially the 30 some odd dudes or however many it was or is that weren't on this team then. There's not one coach down there, I think, other than Angulo, who's the tight ends coach, that needs to be thinking about, oh, thank your lucky star. See, when you thank your lucky star, if the team is saying that, that's why they got beat. That's why they got beat. You don't. You should be, the only thing you should be looking at is the film from yesterday that made a putrid effort from a bunch of people make you think, what are we doing? Can we get more discipline? Can we be better? Can we do better? What is there more for me to do? So that's why for the rest of this segment, I'm going to use just a little bit on Josh Hines-Allen. Love Josh Hines-Allen. If you would have had to think somebody was peeling onions yesterday, his son, man, who has battled back from cancer, was the honorary captain of the team. It's wonderful. Josh is a good man and a real good football player, a good father. We wish the Allen family the best. I had to share that with you because it's all about the experience for me. But on the field, the pressures are there, the sacks aren't. There are a lot of players around the league that get a lot of pressures, but they also get sacks. I am waiting, and this is not saying that he has played poorly, but I need him to be dominant. He's thought of that way. He has the ability to be that way. The team needs him, especially with Trayvon nursing that. He's got that big club. He played yesterday. But Sam Darnold could have done his taxes and baked some cookies yesterday in the pocket to complete those long passes down the field. I have been one of those people that said they're good at starting edge. And one of the reasons I said that they shouldn't go out back when Brian Burns was available and all of these people is because I just didn't think you could give a dude $100 million when you already have the people that you have. So from that perspective, I still stand on that. But what I will tell you is they look like they need some more speed at edge rusher, especially on third down, because they're playing teams. Like, for instance, I don't even think George Karlaftis starts, and he makes a bunch of money just to get after the quarterback. This is where they need a Yannick Ngakoue type player. Not him specifically right now because I don't know where he is physically, but my thing is this is where they need that dude that they can just put in these sub-package situations where they can play all of their pass rushers at once and get after it. Could that be something that they chase after? Don't know. Don't know the resources it would take for them to get someone who could be of any significance at this point. But I tell you what, the one that they do have that's making the most money, they need him. They need him in a bad way to play above and beyond the X's and O's and not just be something that we check off and say, well, he got this many pressures. He's playing good. He's playing good. I know coaches always say pressures are more important than sacks. And the reason why is because in order to get a sack, you have to get pressure. And sometimes people get sacks that they fall into. They get sacks because of somebody else's pressure and they get chased into the person that's just sitting there waiting, doing his job, and all of a sudden that person gets credit for a sack. But a pressure that ends in a sack is like good coverage that ends in an actual interception. It's not that it's way more important, but it's the icing on the cake. And I think Josh has to get home. When you pressure a quarterback on 1st and 10, you just got 2nd and 10 if he throws the ball away. If you pressure and sack a quarterback on 1st and 10, it's 2nd and 17, 2nd and 18. And that is how you end up eventually getting off the field. So he's the first one I want to mention. I'm going to talk about a couple more. I'm going to go down this rabbit hole and talk about Travis Hunter. And we know what this means. People from every side of the earth are going to come out of those sewers and start talking mess about me. But that's all right. We'll talk about it in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. All right, today's show is brought to you and sponsored by Mizzen and Main. You know the saying, look good, feel good. The problem is that most dress clothes only check one of those boxes. They look sharp, but feel stiff, hot, and high maintenance. That's where Mizzen and Main exist, and that's why they exist. Mizzen and Main makes classic menswear with performance fabrics, so it's effortless to look sharp and feel comfortable simultaneously. They actually invented the performance fabric dress shirt over 10 years ago, and they've perfected that ever since. Now, I'm carrying a little extra, right? So I need to make sure I have something that looks good, but also makes me feel comfortable. And Mizzen and Main does that. Right now, Mizzen and Main is offering our listeners 20% off your first purchase at mizzenandmain.com with the promo code LOCKEDONNFL20. That's Mizzen, spelled M-I-Z-Z-E-N, and Main, M-A-I-N.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNFL20 for 20% off. And if you'd rather shop in person, you can find Mizzen and Main stores in select states. And our show today is also brought to you and sponsored by Mazda. We're moving the game forward, man, just like Mazda. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward was a scramble by Baker Mayfield where he broke tackles like Bronco Nagurski and stretched out and got a first down when they were only up by 1 point against the San Francisco 49ers. Then he jumped up and celebrated and dared anybody to get in his face. And I love that, because when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, rolling along here on Locked On Jaguars. Jags lose game yesterday 20-12 to Seattle, visiting Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's a really, really good, solid, well-rounded football team. They are, and it surprised me because coming into the year, I guess I had to apologize to Bronco fans last year. I'm going to have to apologize to Colts fans and the Seahawks fans this year, not because they've gotten off to a better start than I anticipated. No, it's because what I actually see on the field, these are things that you would only know if you have your finger on the pulse of those organizations, what they had in development, what they were trying to accomplish, and how good they were going to do it. From afar, I thought it was a hot mess. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong about them. They made a lot of changes in the offseason, at least the Seahawks did, and they made them for the better. They had their finger on the pulse of the team, and they knew better than I did. So shout out to them. And that is not a consolation for the Jaguars' effort yesterday at all. The offensive line was terrible. We'll get to that in segment number 3. But I found myself in the stands looking for a guy to make a play. And that is why they brought Travis Hunter here, whether it be on offense or defense. Now, I will stop and pause and tell you this. This is not an indictment on him personally. This is not me blaming him instead of blaming the staff. That's not what I'm doing. And I'm not just necessarily going to blame the staff either, even though that would be, the popular thing to do would make it a lot easier. This is about what has to happen, not about who has to get it done and who's responsible for what we haven't seen. It's also this not to appease the people that believe that draft capital is an actual win or a loss, and that they believe that the Jaguars gave up too much to get Travis Hunter. It's not that either, and it's also not the Colorado fan base as much as you guys have all of that passion. What this is saying is, it's not for the fantasy football people. This is for this. He is one of the best players on this team. He is an electric athlete, right? He is a playmaker. Now, to support that opinion, that is why they gave up everything that they gave up to get him. All right. And the Jaguars have said that you have to be nothing more than yourself, and we'll let your superpower, be the thing that's on display, all of this stuff. And we've also gotten to the point where they've told us prior, they don't know what it's going to look like. They're trying to figure it out, and they're in that building every single day working on the best way to have Travis Hunter be a success, not just for right now and to satisfy all of the people I just mentioned, but for the future. That being said, if I look out there and it's a critical part of the game and he's not in the game on offense, I'm wondering why. If it's because he just played a series on defense, I understand. But that doesn't let you off the hook, because that is part of the argument that people make that he shouldn't be playing both ways. Because if that's what you're going to do, then if he's not out there when you really, really need him, because I think players like that absolutely step up at the best game he played this year was on Monday Night Football against the best team that they played. I think the big moments is what he's made for and what he's created for. And if he's not out there because he needs rest, and maybe he doesn't even think he needs rest, that maybe that's the team. And that's the point that I'm making. For whatever the reason, he needs to be on the field. There's no reason people should be saying we need a wide receiver when we got Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter starting, and then you got Parker Washington and Tim Patrick, guys that have caught balls and are professional pass catchers. There's no reason people need to be saying we need a big-time receiver. All right? There's no reason people need to be saying we need a big-time corner. I don't know why I saw Greg Newsome, who's been here long enough to make a cup of coffee out of a Keurig machine. Why is he chasing Jackson Smith and Jigba into the end zone? And he just got here when you got Travis Hunter. And if you tell me the reason is because Travis just ran 2 go routes on offense, then I'll go, aha, there's your problem. At some point, when can we get the best player on the field guarding the best player from the other team? Isn't that what you draft him for? Even if you would have kept the 5th pick and he fell to you, isn't that what you draft him for? But no, this way I will use compensation. You gave up a lot to go get him. How can we get him on the field? The excuse and the reason can't be because we're saving him for the other side of the ball. And then a critical moment on that side of the ball comes and he's also not on the field. Now, if you tell me he just doesn't know a lot yet because he's trying to do both things, I'll go, aha, there's your problem again. At some point, don't you want to win? And at some point, don't you want him to make an impact? Also, why is he always out there with his hands out as if he doesn't know what he's supposed to do on both offense and defense? Then, if he turns around after giving up a pass because you're in soft coverage and he demonstratively tells you if he's doing this, then that means he doesn't like what you're running and you're running something that he doesn't like. I thought we were going to do the things that he needed to. Why are you not allowing him to get up on people? If you tell me it's because this is what we run and this is how we do it, then I'm going to look at you and say, why did you pick him? If that's not what he does. And if that is what he does, playing off man and being able to use, then why isn't he doing it? At some point, and it wasn't the point when they were 4-1, because he actually should have had them 5-0 because he made a play that should have been a good play that would have ended the game in Cincinnati. When you win, we'll go, okay, we ain't worried about production from one player. But when you don't, that's when the demonstrative, what are we doing here? That's when lining up off sides on what was a touchdown by Brian Thomas Jr. That's when it's seeming like y'all are on different pages. At some point, folks, no matter what walk of earth that they come from, no matter what side of the agenda they're on, even if they don't have a side, but they understand everyone's position, at some point, they're going to turn around and look at you and say, okay, what are we doing here? What's going on? And the thing about being transparent is you can't stop when you need to be in this situation. They've been very open, given access to the locker room, all of that. I want somebody to explain to me what's going on. If it's the 4th quarter, and in critical situations on offense and defense, there is not a wide receiver on this team good enough that he should not be in the game. There's not a corner on this team good enough that he should not be in the game in critical moments. If that's the case, why is it happening? And if you tell me that there's somebody better, it can't be because of physical ability. It must be because of the platoon arrangement that he's had, and he hasn't had a chance to get good enough at one thing. And that's what you're going to have to eventually answer for, because if you start to lose games and the production isn't there, you're going to have questions that you have to answer. I want the transparency that you've had so far to keep going. I'm not panicking, but I'm just saying we want to see more from Travis Hunter. Doesn't mean he needs to do more. Maybe y'all need to put him in better positions. And it doesn't mean that that's true. but we'll see how it works out. All I can tell you is I think he's one of the best players on the team, and he needs to be on the field in critical situations, whether that's on offense or defense. Walker Little, come on down, because we're going to talk about you here in segment 3 and that offensive line that was putrid yesterday. We'll get to it in just a second. All right, today's show is sponsored and brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while the industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Their trade master perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process even smoother. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SH for Supply House and then NFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Here's the promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. Real people, real service. And today's show is also sponsored and brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is alive and kicking. We're 1/3 of the way through, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Now, the biggest thing is you got to watch it before the game to make sure people don't pop themselves in their eye and get concussions before the action even starts. So you got to make sure you don't hinder yourself. But FanDuel will update that in real time before you actually make your wager. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and do it and make sure you get started. Win your first $5 bet and get $300 across the app. All right, it's time to talk about the offensive line. What a terrible performance yesterday. And I know Robert Hainsey is being good this year. Has he been 7 sacks good? Yeah, 7 sacks yesterday. Now look, that's not a chopped liver defensive line that they played. Leonard Williams, number 1 pick. Byron Murphy, number 1 pick. DeMarcus Lawrence, a long-time real good player. And Boy Mafe, second-round pick a couple of years ago. These guys get after it now, especially when they know they got you licked a little bit. Mike McDonald is a wizard of a defensive-minded coach also. Ask Baltimore if they don't mess him over the last 2 years, especially this season, right? But come on, man. It looked like Von Miller and the late Derek Thomas and Lawrence Taylor, all of them were over there at the same time yesterday. Reggie White, throw Reggie White in there too. Trevor Lawrence didn't have – this might have been one of Trevor's best games because he actually played pretty well considering all of the pressure he was under. And maybe that also hindered them from getting some of those things down the field to Travis Hunter and those wide receivers. I know they expected the team to struggle a little bit yesterday with Jonah Monheim, the rookie, getting his first start at center. But Walker Little did not play well. And I don't know what the numbers are on True Media for him. That's not what I'm telling you. What my eyeballs saw. I saw him too many times off balance, being pushed. Once the second move comes from the defensive lineman, he wasn't able to redirect and play well. If I'm wrong, y'all can point it out. But I'm telling you, it looked like to me that number 72 was having a hard time yesterday. And I have said that I gave him credit for re-signing a starting tackle who is 25, 26 years old to what is like a bargain deal for someone like that. But now he's to the point where he's on the contract and you can't replace him if you wanted to, right? And this was done by the previous regime. So if I gave him credit for it, I'm going to have to stick by those guns. And all I'm saying is, I don't care how much of a bargain it is or how much money you're saving. Walker Little has to play better. Anton Harrison has played well this year, all pro level. He wasn't like that yesterday, but we know he's banged up and he was struggling. Pat McCary was struggling. Chuma Edoga came into the game and got 2 straight penalties. Ezra Cleveland had penalties yesterday. Sometimes when you're missing somebody and guys are banged up, you go above and beyond trying to overcompensate and help them. And then sometimes it's just that the guys in front of you are so good that you're fighting for your life. And it seemed like it was a combination of both of those things yesterday. When you're one-on-one the edge, man, you got to play, especially when your quarterback is trying to get out of the box. Trevor Lawrence took credit for a lot of that by saying, I probably left the pocket and scrambled too quickly. Trevor, trust me, you did not leave the pocket too quickly. Maybe on one or two situations, but no, they were after you like hyenas if there was a little gazelle there and his leg was hurt. That's what it looked like yesterday. So I ain't calling you a gazelle. Shout out to you. But my thing is those three guys have to play better. Walker Little has to play better. I don't care how much he was paid or wasn't paid. That is not going to be an acceptable level of play when they play good teams with good football players, especially towards the end of this season. And when you start getting into the playoffs and you don't have any pansies left, or you're starting to make a push to make a playoff run and you don't have soft teams on your schedule, you need your best players to not only hold it down, they have to be more than stalemates. They have to be guys that actually make plays above the X's and O's. Now, it's up to the coaches and the team to put them in position to be able to do that. So once again, everyone I mentioned, I am not blaming them. I am not blaming the coaches. Some of this stuff is stuff that we have seen all year. Josh Allen ain't got a sack all year, and you didn't hear me say nothing about it. Yeah, because they're 4-1. But now when they lose a game, you have to say, okay, it finally cost us something, or we didn't get the extra help that we needed. Travis Hunter not being on the field, it finally cost them something, right? And it's hard to change things or to realize you need change while you're having success. Walker Little maybe not being the greatest player at left tackle, it finally cost you something. Those 7 sacks and all of those penalties and lining up off sides and guys not knowing where to go, and the one drop by BTJ, it was like everything that has been a mini microcosm all came yesterday in one big lump, and now they got to go and travel across the pond and play a Los Angeles Rams team that is very, very good in a lot of those areas that we just mentioned. One of them they're good at too is familiarity. They know everything Liam Cohen is thinking about before he thinks about it, and vice versa. So we're going to see how this matchup goes this week. They have a chance to get to 5-2. At the very least, they have a chance to clean up some of this stuff and guys get some healthy people back and have guys play and put their best foot forward. That's all we want for this team each and every week. I know they're 4-2, and we should thank our lucky stars for them, according to some people. I am not that type of person. I look at what it is right now, and could it be better than it is now? Absolutely, yes. The time to talk about that is after a loss as opposed to after a win. You can win twice with me every day on Locked On NFL. Also, I'm there with Tyler Rowland early in the morning. He opens the show up at about 7 a.m. like a double shot of espresso while you're on your way to work. And me, well, you can cheat on your lunch break, or unless you take a late lunch at 2 o'clock, I'll be on in the barbershop on Locked On NFL. Make sure you tap in. Oh, man, we're glad. It's 28 minutes today, 28 and a half minutes. We really appreciate you, Jaguar fans. We'll have more on the Jaguars tomorrow. I'll be listening to Liam Cohen here shortly at the press conference, and we'll follow up on whatever he says about the trip overseas and how the team is going to move forward. We thank you for moving forward with us each and every day here on Locked On Jaguars. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you very much.